What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. I've been out all day, but finally back home, get to finally talk about the brand new Sugo Fest batch with Sengoku, the Admirals. We also have free-to-play Luffy and Whitebeard character as well. We got a gem sale, we got a login bonus as well, where we get our hands on some gemmies, which is always good to see. New batch of level limit breaks, which I'll be making a separate video about. I'm actually pretty pumped to have a look at these units. And then, of course, we have the social media event. Make sure to go over there and help us out as we can get a free legend ticket off of it. But we're here to talk about the Sugo Fest today. I might make a separate video once an infographic is created talking about which part of the Sugo Fest is the most enticing. That'll also be a separate video. This video is just talking about the new batch. Let's just talk about the new characters because that is the #1 thing that everyone wants to see. That's what a lot of people like to see my opinions on. So let's go ahead and scroll down to where these characters are, man. Dude, look, I have read some of their abilities when I was out at the time, and this is a very divisive Sugo Fest batch, and I think that a lot of people are going to be in two different camps. I think there's going to be a group of people that are going to absolutely love the design of this batch, and I think the majority of people, like myself, are going to think that this might be probably one of the worst batches of the year, just in the way that these characters are designed, okay? Let's get into it though. Let's start off with the, let's just actually start with Sengoku first, because he's the focal point of the batch. You need to know what he does to kind of understand what these Rev recruits are aiming to do. So here we have Sengoku. We did already have a little bit of a sneak peek of his captain ability and his special ability, but now we have access to his super type and his super tandem, so we'll get to see what that's all about. So he is a Psi Cerebral fighter. So this is a brand new Psi Cerebral character that people may try and use in the Grand Voyage versus Local Sea Monster. However, looking at the abilities, I don't really see how this character is going to be of use, to be perfectly honest. It's just, I don't really know if he's going to be useful at all. But either way, Sengoku, his captain ability is going to boost all characters' attack by 4.5 with a 1.5 health boost, makes Psi, Tandem, and unfavorable slots have matching slot effects, and when every single color is on the team, you get a 5.5 times attack boost instead with a 10% damage reduction. We talked about this yesterday, but the fact that you need to have one of every color to reach that high multiplier, like, that's respectable. 5.5 is very good. It's the equal highest captain you can really get, and I guess, you know, aside from like V1 Big Mom gimmicks and, you know, Nami Robin empty slots and stuff like that, like 5.5 is ridiculous. But the drawback of having to have one of every color on the team is such a huge drawback at that they really should have given additional abilities for fulfilling that condition. Like a utility effect would have been ridiculously useful here, but they decided not to do that, which is a little bizarre, I must say. It's just very, very weird. But now we can have a look at the super type. So with the captain ability in mind, remember, you get access to the super type when you use him as a captain, and in order to get it to launch, you need to have Akainu, Aokiji, Kizaru, Fujitora, Garp, Suru, Smoker, Tashigi, Hina, and Kobe. One of those characters needs to be on the crew, and the effect will simply give you 1250 base attack for 1 turn, and then Psi characters become Super Psi. That's such a disappointing effect, dude. Like, the fact that they've gone out of their way to do that is just so underwhelming. For the way this character's captain is designed, I would have expected this super type to be way better than what this was. And I think just not even looking at the super tandem yet, just looking at this is definitely not worth pulling for. Even if the Sugo Fest is godly and there's like a part where like all these legends that you don't have, I mean, at this point you're probably just better saving, right? Like Sengoku, he seems interesting, but I fail to see how this character is going to be one of those units that's going to help you clear like every piece of content in the game. There's just so many bad things about this character in general that I'm not a fan of that super type. They should have added way more abilities to this. With the way this character's designed, they needed some utility in here, and there's just none, which is, I'm a bit concerned about that. It's just really, really weird that they decided not to do that. Either way, so that's the captain effects and the, you know, the super types and stuff. His special ability, as we all know, if you have one of every color on the crew, you get a 4 times attack and orb boost, but it's only to one single character. Then he gives that character that you chose a matching slot, and the rest of your crew gets tandem slots, which makes sense for his super tandem. But then, if you have 4 or more Psi characters instead that are on the crew, you target one character to get a 3.5 attack and orb boost for 1 turn. Now, that character that you select, if you've got 4 or more Psi characters, does not get matching slot. It doesn't give tandem slots to the rest of the crew. I think that the matching slot and the tandem slots should have been a given no matter what, like always activatable. And to be honest, 4 more side characters for his ability, like that should just be like removed. It shouldn't have a condition for that. It should just be if you have one of every color, you get this amazing boost. If you don't, well, you'll still get a boost, but you're just not going to get the 4 times boost instead. I think that that's a little bit of a missed opportunity there, and it means that if you don't have 4 side characters, if you don't have one of every color, the special can't activate because you're not fulfilling any of the conditions to get the ability to launch. It just, I don't get it. I don't get it. But look, that's the thing, right? Is if you're using him as a captain, in no way are you ever using this guy if you're not building one of every color, because 4.5, 1.5 health, some matching slots, that's it. You're not using him in that reason, like unless if you're doing a GARP challenge or something where you need to have a mono side team. But outside of that, man, like you're definitely building one for every color, which means that you're gonna get the buffed effect in a lot of cases where you're aiming to use this character in content. 11 turn cooldown is good. It's not a damage dealing special, which I think is also a bit of a missed opportunity as well. Just, yeah, just disappointing overall, man. His crewmate ability says that if you have one of every color on the crew, and if you tap with a Sai or a tandem slot, you get a minus 15% resistance to strength, dex, quick, and int characters for 1 turn. Okay, when you have a look at the rare recruits and the way that they're aimed to be used, this does make sense. However, it is still very weird. It is still very, very weird. The fact that he doesn't give resistance to Sai, which essentially further confirms that you don't want to use him on a mono Sai team. You just don't, because this effect will just not work for your crew. They should have just give minus 15% to everything, honestly. It's just really weird. And if we have one of every color on the crew, it makes side tandem recovery beneficial. Like, that's cool for the whole crew. Like, there's nothing really wrong with that. So that's all of his regular abilities, but now we've got access to his potentials, which is the Enrage, which is nothing special, the Slot Bind by 10, which is respectable, and the Super Tandem. So let's have a look at this level 1. So in order to get it, you need to have 2 of the following: Akainu, Aokiji, Kizaru, Fujitora, and Monkey D GARP, and it applies a tandem attack boost of 2.0 to the top row, and a 1.1 to everyone else for 1 turn. So this is what we're trying to say. This is what we're trying to say with the data download, or with the images we had yesterday, is that we're trying to determine what this Super Tandem would even be. And they've actually decided to give 2 separate boosts. One to your top row and the rest of the crew. And once again, once you read the rev recruits, it does make sense. And then if you go all the way to level 2, do these conditions change? Level 4, it changes. Level 4, you get access to Suru, Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina. And then if you look at level 5, the tandem attack boost 2.5 to the top row, and then 1.5 to everyone else. So that does seem weird, but when you understand what the rare recruits do, this does make a little bit more sense. But just in general, I don't see how this guy's really going to be seeing a lot of play, unless if you are using legit the whole batch for content. And even then, don't know about all that. Next we got his Rumble stuff. So in Rumble, let's have a look. He gives buffs to fighters, which I think is a nice change. I actually am glad that they're going through class-based buffs rather than colors. So I think they're listening in regards to that. But he gives fighter characters 5 HP, 5 guard, and anytime you blow away an enemy up to 3 times, fighters get level 2 attack. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, must admit. Not really the biggest fan of that, in all honesty. But obviously does work well with one of the other characters that's also releasing, which I might talk about in another video. I don't know if we're going to fit GARP in this video today, but yeah, there's a brand new Legend GARP, which we need to talk about too. He also has the level 10 ability, 25 CT, targets enemies in a large horizontal range for double attack, and fighter class teammates get level 3 defense and blow away up level 7. I think that this character, because he's so focused on blowing away enemies, should have had blow away percent up in his kit. It's annoying that you have to utilize other characters alongside him to get the most out of him. Definitely would have preferred it if he just had it in his kit by himself. But either way, that is the brand new Sengoku character, and I think a lot of people are just going to be skipping this Sugo Fest, and I completely understand, honestly. This unit just seems kind of meh in the grand scheme of things when you have a look at everything else that's released recently. I think it would be a very wise decision to conserve your rainbow gems for future banners, in all honesty. It just seems like you really need to have an extremely good character box in order to use this guy effectively, and for beginners and mid-level players, you're probably not going to get the most out of Sengoku by pulling this guy, in all honesty. Let's go through the rare recruits though. Here we have Fujitora, who is Int Powerhouse Slasher. And the captain ability, we actually got to go through everything, but one thing, there's a couple of things to notice here about these rare recruits. Fujitora has super type, and Fujitora has final tap. Yeah, that's weird, right? Anyways, Fujitora with his captain is going to boost HP by 1.5, makes int and tandem slots have matching slot effects. When every color's on the crew, you get a 4 times attack boost, and if this character became the captain during the middle of a quest, he boosts your attack further by 1.35 and gives you 10% damage reduction. So this is a really interesting captain ability, and you got to think, right, 4 times boost, and if you have if this guy became the captain in the middle of a quest, it multiplies the 4 and the 1.35 together, which equates to 5.4. This regular rare recruit is a 5.4 times captain with super type, with final tap. These rare recruits are going crazy, so you can understand why Sengoku's effect with his super tandem would give you a huge boost to your captain. So whatever you want as your captain, these rare recruits can switch into the captain spot, and then you can do whatever you need to do, right? Where you can get those big buffs. If you're up against a Psy enemy, you can make Fujitora your captain. He's an int captain, or he's basically a rainbow captain, 5.4, and with all of the buffs that Sengoku does, it kind of makes sense what they're aiming to do here. Then you've got the special ability of this guy, where it says it reduces Despair by 5, reduces Rainbow Shield by 5, boosts the chain by 1.0, and if this character is a crewmate, you can choose to swap this character out for the captain for 1 turn. You can choose. This is the first character that's done that. Usually captain swapping effects, they're not choosing to do that. When you activate the special, you are actively wanting that character to become the captain. This gives you a choice when you launch the special, which I like. It means that you can actually opt to not do that and still use this character in other crews, which is still kind of okay. And then he says, if every type is on the crew, he further increases your chain multiplier boost by plus 0.3, including the chain multiplier boost launched by this special. So if you have one of every color, the 1.0 chain boost actually becomes 1.3. And that's the way that works. So Despair, Rainbow Shield, 1.3 chain multiplier boost, and he can become the captain. And obviously you've got access to his super type, but the effect boosts the type effects of normal attacks for character by 2.5 for 1 turn, and then can choose to completely remove the crew's swap captain's effect, and then int becomes super int. So this is also kind of intriguing, where you can have Fujitora get the 2.5 color affinity boost with a super type, and then you can choose to switch him out of the captain spot back to a crewmate. Which I don't know why you would do that. I mean, I guess Sengoku technically does give you a better boost, but if you don't have the good super tandem ability, you probably maybe want to have Sengoku as the captain instead. But yeah, that's still really cool, where you can just select him with Sengoku, give him the 4 times attack and all boost, give him the 2.5 color affinity with the super type special, swap him back to the crewmate with his super type special. Very, very interesting stuff. He makes int slots matching when you have one of every color on the crew, and when you have every character on the crew and you tap with a tandem slot, apply minus 10% resistance down to all enemies for strength, dex, quick, and psi. So if they all have that crewmate ability, this has potential to be pretty bonkers in terms of damage and being able to use it in a lot of different circumstances. But the thing that kind of concerns me is that some of these characters, their utility might not be good enough to get through certain content. So we'll have to wait and see how that kind of plays out. He has slotbind resistance by 5, but the final tap, it says when the crew has both an attack boost and a slot effect boost, which makes perfect sense, you're able to do that, and he boosts his own base attack by plus 800, and it stacks with everything else. So of course, if you have Sengoku's base attack boost, which is 1250 with his super type special, you can have this to make it go to essentially 2000 base attack boost to this character. So yeah, like getting these characters completely maxed out is going to be just nuts. I mean, looking at level 99, you can have like the Limerick expansion, which will inevitably come in the future, but adding so much cotton candy and the 2000 base attack, these units are going to hit incredibly hard. Let's have a look at the support effect. Aokiji, Sengoku, Kizaru Akainu, and 7% base stats, and if you hit a perfect, reduces Rainbow Shield by 1. That's a pretty good support effect, in all honesty. And remember, these can be used on other versions of these units as well, so these rare recruits are actually kind of valuable. Let's have a look at the Rumble stuff. So Rumble, Int, Attack 5, Defense 3, 26 CT, targets enemies in a large range for a level 4 attack down, level 4 defense down. It's a bad special. This is a character you're not using in Rumble, but Fujitora... pretty interesting stuff. Alright, so the next character is Aokiji, being a quick striker shooter character, and you'll have a look at that captain ability, and it's very reminiscent of the Fujitora. Same health boost of 1.5. Instead of making int in tandem, he makes quick and tandem slots matching, and 4 times attack boost when you have every color, and if he becomes the captain in the middle of a quest, 1.35 times attack boost on top of it, being a 5.4 multiplier. It makes sense. All of these characters are built the same way. Super type effect gives himself a 2.5 color affinity. You can turn off your captain swap if you so choose to do that. He also has final tap, which again is plus 800. You're seeing a theme going along here. Let's have a look at that special though. He reduces attack down and special bind by 5 turns, as well as threshold by 5 turns. Very, very good. And then if he is your crewmate, you can become the captain, and if every type is on the crew, further increases the crew's attack and slot effects by plus 0.25. Ooh, that's intriguing. Okay, so even hypothetically, if you wanted Fujitora to be the captain instead, you could do really weird things where you could like potentially, you know, use Fujitora to make him become the captain, use his super type, make him get color affinity, and then cancel your captain swap, and then use Kuzan to go to the captain, use his super type, or we'll use his special, really, his special, which can, you know, buff your attack and all boost, hypothetically for Fujitora, and then use his super type, which would negate the captain swap, make him come back. That is, yo, that's pretty weird. It's weird and wacky stuff. I don't see how, like, yeah, this batch together is going to be really, really cool, but outside of like content that they're going to be built for, I don't know how often you're really going to use characters like this. It's just really, really weird characters, honestly. Resisting special bind by 5 and the minus 10% resistance. So you're going to be hitting really hard with these resistance debuffs on top of your attack and all boost, on top of the color affinity. Some pretty interesting stuff here, man. Pretty cool stuff. Support effect, same characters attaching to. 7% base attack if you hit a perfect, remove threshold by 1. These supports are all good. I want to get all these rare recruits mainly for their support effects. They're all really good. He has barrier penetration as well, which is good. One thing that I am a little bit concerned about though is that they've been releasing a lot of good shooter characters, but they're all been quick. So I'm not really a big fan of that. They really need to buff some of the other colors for shooters on top of Quick, because Quick have been receiving a lot of good shooter characters, but they need a little bit of help in the other colors. So the Rumble ability is going to be some shooter buffs. Shooter HP 5, attack 4, when his health is 50% or less, shooter characters get level 3 defense. It's a pretty good Rumble ability. 25 CT, shooter teammates get guard up and defense up. Terrible. You're not going to use him in Rumble. God damn it, why do they do that? They give him such a good Rumble ability, but they make his special trash. Alright, well, that's Kuzan. Very, very intriguing abilities once again. Next on the list is Sakazuki Akainu. He's a strength-driven fighter, and once again, final tap, super type, captain ability, essentially the same thing, strength slots instead of quick or int, and 5.4 multiplier if you have all the teams and he becomes the captain in the middle of the quest. Pretty typical stuff. 12 turn cooldown special, reduces bind by 5, reduces defense up by 5, and boosts damage dealt to ignited enemies by 1.75 for 1 turn. Pretty good. Hopefully there's a way to ignite them. If character is a crewmate, you can make him become the captain for 1 turn. Applies an ignited status to all enemies for 1 turn, which does 100 times the enemy's attack. If every type is on the crew, and it ignores all status effects. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then further says, if this character is a crewmate, you can make him become the captain. And it says that it applies an ignited status to all enemies for 1 turn, and it says only if you have one of every color on the crew, but it ignores immunity to status effects. A self-proccing conditional booster, bind, defense up remover as well. Wow. Wow, but you do need to have one of every color, once again, so there's drawbacks. There's drawbacks to all of these units having to have one of every color. It's such a big drawback. But it's kind of cool. It is kind of cool the way that they've done it. He makes strength slots matching if you have one of every color. Yeah, this is going to be a crazy team. And once again, the 10% resistance debuff. Whatever character you choose to be the huge damage dealer, is gonna be doing some really good damage, so that is cool to see. Support effect is gonna be 7% stats and removing defense up when you hit a perfect. Yeah, all of these supports are great. And then the rumble abilities, fighter characters buff. That's actually really cool. Fighter characters get level 5 attack and level 3 defense, 32 CT, which is really high. 2 enemies with high attack for a 30% health cut, and then 1.2 times attack 2 times. It's fine, nothing crazy though. Not really too concerned about, you know, these rare recruit rumble abilities, but all of them seem really cool so far. You can opt to make them the captain and stuff. Didn't even have a look at the super type. So his super type boosts the type effects of normal attacks for himself, 2.5 for 1 turn, and you can choose to completely remove the captain swap. Yeah, pretty typical stuff. The exact same abilities that we've seen previously. And then the final character of the batch is Kizaru, being a super type Dex character, Dex Shooter Free Spirit. And he's going to have the same captain effect, except dex slots matching instead, 5.4 captain, and super type is going to be the same thing, 2.5 color affinity, same condition, and a 10 turn cooldown, so a little bit less, and he reduces cooldown by 1, reduces burn and paralysis by 5. If this character is a crewmate, you can switch him out for 1 turn. If you've got one of every color on the crew, he gives you a 2.5 chain boundary. Ooh, okay, 2.5 chain boundary, and it maxes out at 10.0, and otherwise you still get a 3.25 times chain lock. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, this guy adds you a, you know, cooldown, burn, whatever it was again, burn, paralysis, and then a chain-related buff. That's actually pretty nice. He resists special reverse by 2 turns, which is fine. He only gives cooldown by 1 though. Would have been nice if it was -2. And once again, the minus 10% resistance. Once again, barrier penetration, so another nice shooter buff. Hopefully his rumble stuff is also shooter related, we'll see. Final tap is also still plus 800, which is the rest of them. His support effect, once per quest, if you're inflicted with burn or paralysis, reduce it by 1 at the start of the crew's next turn. I love that. That's a really good support, and definitely will see play for sure. And his rumble stuff is dex related. That is unfortunate. Dex attack 5, speed 5, HP 3, 27 CT. Dex teammates get a speed increase, crit up, and target 1 teammate with high speed for level 4 attack. You're not using these characters in Rumble. They're all terrible in Rumble. Absolutely not. No. But that is, dude, this Sugo Fest batch is so weird. I can't really say to everyone that this is worth pulling for. I can't really recommend people to do that. This batch isn't enticing enough. This batch, while it seems interesting altogether, if you're taking key components out of this batch and trying to put them in other teams, yeah, they'll be fine, but I just don't see how they're going to be working as effectively in other teams. Outside of, obviously, this one right here, when you've got Sengoku as the captain instead. And Sengoku, if you don't have these rare recruits, I don't really know how you can really abuse this as effectively as you would think, because you still have to fulfill, you know, the super type condition, and if you're trying to opt for super tandem, the super tandem at level 5 is very powerful, no doubt in my mind. But once again, yeah, tandem level 5 is very, very difficult to achieve. So before we wrap up this video, we need to talk about the brand new Pirate Rumble Sugo Fest, where it features fighter characters, and this Sugo Fest introduces a brand new Pirate Rumble Sugo Fest exclusive character in Monkey D GARP, which is ridiculous. We are getting a brand new GARP legend, but they have relegated him to a Pirate Rumble legend, and I'm really upset about that. I think that they've I don't know what the team is thinking in terms of selecting which characters become legends. It just doesn't make sense. Why would you release GARP as a Pirate Rumble legend? Like, GARP is one of the most popular characters in the series. He has to be, right? I don't know the exact numbers on the popularity poll of where he placed, but GARP is a very popular character. And the fact that he is relegated to a banner like this just doesn't make sense. GARP is a character that really should be a headliner character on a major celebration. And they've put him in a Pirate Rumble Sugo Fest? Come on. And we already know that Pirate Rumble legends don't have super type, don't have super class, so they already lose out a lot of power just because of that alone. So I'm already kind of pissed about that. So hopefully he's good. Let's go ahead and break him down though. Monkey D GARP, here we go. 6-star character, Dex, Fighter, Powerhouse. Captain ability, boosting Fighter and Powerhouse by 5. Boosting their attack by 5.25 in turns where you've used his special, and then boost Fighter and Powerhouse HP by 1.5, and also reducing Bind by 3 turns. Yeah, like, if this was a regular batch legend, he probably would have 10 turns or 5 turns of bind removal instead. I mean, 3 turns is still very good. It's still really nice to have for sure. But it's disappointing. It's disappointing that he is relegated in this fashion because this captain ability is just attack and HP. And then, yeah, you get 3 turns of bind removal. So if you run double GARP, you remove 6 turns of bind. It's cool for sure. But the fact he doesn't have a super type or a super class, that really hurts, I think. Alright, well, let's have a look at his special. 14 turns is ridiculously high. 14 is way too high. He does 300 times his attack in typeless damage to a single target that ignores all defensive effects. Reduces special charge time by 2 turns. Pretty good. Boosts chain multiplier by 1.5. That's really high. And then allows fighter and powerhouse characters' normal attacks to ignore defensive effects for 1 turn. If other specials have been launched 2 times, this special cannot be launched. Okay, so essentially it's saying that, yeah, this is a really good special, but you can only use 2 specials. Or 2, is it 2 other specials? Actually, wait, there is a way to tell. Let's go ahead and read, let's read Rayleigh, V3 Rayleigh. Because Rayleigh, I believe you could only launch 1 other special, or you could not launch another special. How is his one worded? If other specials have been launched, this special cannot be launched. Yeah, so what about like Blackbeard, for example? Treasure Map Blackbeard. He also had a really, really weird gimmick in regards to that. If 2 or more other specials have been launched, this special cannot be launched in the same turn. So that one says, if 2 or more specials have been launched. So you can only launch 1 other special with Blackbeard, because once you reach 2, it's 2 or more, so you can't use his special. So GARP was interesting, because it says, other specials have been launched 2 times, this special cannot be launched. So it's saying that if once you reach the 2nd activation of a special, you can no longer launch this. So you can only launch 1 other special with GARP. If this special is launched, only up to 2 specials can be launched. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. It just reminds me a lot of V2 Rayleigh. And V2 Rayleigh, he is really powerful. But the thing about him that also makes him really nice is V2 Rayleigh has cooldown reduction with his potential ability, giving him lots of cooldown as soon as you start the quest. GARP doesn't have that. So you have to wait to charge his special, and at 14 turns, that's probably with expansion, so it's probably 15 turns, not even multi-staged either. That really hurts this guy a lot, I think. So while he seems good on paper, in practice, he might not be as useful in a lot of cases as we would have thought, just because of that cooldown being ridiculously high. But in times where you can get that cooldown down and ready to go, it's a pretty powerful special, no doubt in my mind. He's going to be a great crewmate regardless. And then his crewmate ability resists special reverse by 2 turns, reduces special bind by 5 turns. Did I miss something? He didn't reduce special bind. No, he just resists it naturally, which is kind of weird. He does give you -2 cooldown, which I do like as a special. That's actually really good. And obviously a very good chain boosting effect. I mean, he's fine. That's all I can really say. He just seems fine. This is not a character I would go crazy for. Like, he doesn't have any abilities that really make me say, wow, this character is absolutely busted, and I really want to get this guy because I want to test him in XYZ cases. He just seems okay. Slot bind by 5 is really bad. Okay, the support effect attaches to Kobe, Helmeppo, and Sengoku, and gives you a 0.7 chain boost at the start of the battle. Nothing wrong with that. It seems perfectly acceptable to me. But of course, he's a Pyrumble legend. So let's see what this Pyrumble ability is all about. So he gives fighter teammates blowaway % up level 5, and this is where he synergizes with Legend Sengoku, because Sengoku wants you to inflict a blowaway to the enemy. So if you can have this, it makes a lot of sense. So blowaway % level 5, defense level 4. When his health is below 50%, he gives himself level 5 attack, level 5 defense. Fine, sure. Nothing really too crazy there. He's fine. 31 CT. He targets 2 enemies with 100% CT for 1.8 times damage. Up to 2 times. Okay. Fighter class teammates attack speed level 7. When his health is below 50%, gives himself a 1.4 counter. Honestly, I don't like him. I don't think this character's that good. Because he only targets enemies with 100% CT charge for damage, and it's only 1.8. Like, that's actually not that much damage. He does do it 2 times, which is like whatever. Unless if the attack buff goes second. If the attack buff happens before the attack, it is a little bit better. Bro, I don't know what they're doing. This does not seem good. I don't know about you guys, but after playing Pyro Rumble for quite a lot of matches, you think I'd know what is good and what is bad, and this doesn't seem that good. Like, the attack and speed buff, I think the buffing effect is probably the most useful effect here. Because even though he targets characters with 100% CT charge, he doesn't, like, reduce their CT. He doesn't do anything in regards to that. He does a counter below 50%, which is weird. I don't know, man. This guy doesn't seem really that good. In Pyro Rumble, anyway. He seems kind of bad. Just... I'm underwhelmed. I'm just so underwhelmed, man. My man GARP. Look how you've done him, man. What have you done to him, dude? Either way, we got a brand new Pyro Rumble rare recruit in Don Chin Jiao, which is pretty bizarre. I don't think anyone would have predicted this one. Dex, fighter powerhouse. Obviously, regular abilities don't matter because he's a Pyro Rumble rare recruit. So his abilities in Rumble, let's have a look. Fighter HP 6, attack 6. When the time remaining is less than 50 seconds, he gives himself level 10 attack. So might be a good bench unit, we'll have to wait and see. 24 CT. Targets enemies in a large range frontal for 70% chance of special bind. 70% chance. And then damage over time level 2 for 15 seconds and targets 2 enemies for special CT 30% delay. Wait, bro, do they not test these characters before they like implement them into the game? They definitely don't. If you're trying to run these two characters together, GARP and Don Chin Jiao CT delays them, and GARP's damage with his special only targets enemies with 100% CT. So you can be in a situation where Don Chin Jiao delays their CT, GARP comes in with his special, no one's, or you might have some of them at max CT, but there is a chance that you'll have Don Chin Jiao reduce the CT of the character you want to hit. I swear they didn't test these characters. There's no way, reading these abilities, they tested these characters out. Damage over time as well with a special. Damage over time has never worked. It only will work if you have absurd numbers of damage over time. And I don't know off the top of my head, but I can't think of many other fighter characters that inflict damage over time. What are they doing? What are they doing? Not only with this batch, but with the Sengoku batch as well. I don't understand what they're doing. Nothing makes sense here. It really doesn't. But yeah, man, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, though. That's gonna wrap it up for me, though. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about the whole debacle of this Sugo Fest batch down below in the comment section. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.